Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Easy English Spark channel. I'm so excited to have you here today. Whether you're at home or on the go, I hope you're ready to dive into something super valuable. Today, we're going to build the foundation of your English listening and speaking skills, just like building a strong house from the ground up. Together, we'll explore how to boost your confidence, sharpen your communication, and speak more fluently than ever before. Let's get started and light up your English journey one step at a time. Chapter 1: Introduction to English Learning. Hello and welcome. In this chapter, we're going to explore the idea of learning English and how, with the right mindset and practice, it's possible to make incredible progress, even if you're starting from scratch. Now, I know what you're thinking. Learning English in just a week? That sounds impossible. And I get it. Learning a new language might seem like a daunting task, especially when you see others who seem to speak effortlessly. But here's the thing. Learning English doesn't have to be overwhelming. In fact, with focused effort, dedication, and the right tools, you can definitely make noticeable progress. The key is to be consistent, patient, and not to rush the process. You might be wondering, is it even worth it to try to learn English? Let me tell you, absolutely. English is not only a global language, but it's also one of the most widely spoken languages in the world, with over 430 million native speakers. It's considered the universal language, which means learning it opens doors to communication with people from different cultures and backgrounds. Whether you're traveling, working, or making new friends, English is everywhere, and being able to understand and speak it will make your life a lot easier. But of course, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Learning English is a journey, and like any other skill, it takes time to master. It's not just about memorizing vocabulary or knowing how to construct sentences. It's about immersing yourself in the language, understanding its nuances, and using it in your daily life. And while you might not become fluent in 1 week, you can definitely get the ball rolling and start using basic phrases and expressions that will help you communicate more confidently. So, let's talk about what we're going to cover in this guide. First, you'll get a solid introduction to the basic building blocks of the English language. These are the foundational skills that will allow you to form sentences, understand conversations, and express yourself more clearly. We'll talk about essential components such as phonetics, vocabulary development, and the different skills you need to master. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I want you to understand that this guide isn't going to make you fluent in English in 1 week. That's simply not realistic. Fluency takes time, consistent practice, and exposure to the language. But what this guide will do is help you build a strong foundation. It will give you the tools you need to start speaking, understanding, and reading basic English. You might also be wondering, why should I learn English? Well, English is a language that has evolved over centuries, influenced by Germanic, Latin, Greek, and many other languages. It's a rich and diverse language with a fascinating history. Understanding its roots can give you a deeper appreciation for how it's changed over time and how it's used today. Another thing I want to emphasize is that English is not as difficult as it might seem. While some languages, like Chinese or Arabic, might be more challenging due to their writing systems or grammar structures, English is relatively straightforward in comparison. It's a language that is constantly evolving, and as you continue to learn, you'll start noticing patterns and similarities that make it easier to grasp. But remember, learning English doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, repetition, and exposure to the language. In the next chapters, I'll guide you through some practical tips and techniques that will help you improve your speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills. Now, let's talk about your mindset. One of the most important things to keep in mind as you embark on this journey is that mistakes are okay. In fact, they're a crucial part of learning. You're going to make mistakes. Everyone does. The important thing is to learn from them, not to get discouraged. Every time you make a mistake, it's an opportunity to improve and get one step closer to fluency. Also, don't expect to be perfect right away. Learning a language is like building a house. It takes time, patience, and effort. It's not about being flawless from day one. It's about making progress and being consistent. And trust me, you will make progress. As we go through this guide, I encourage you to think of English as a tool. It's a means of communication, a way for you to connect with others, express your thoughts, and understand the world around you in a new way. Don't worry too much about being perfect. Focus on using English as much as you can, even if it's just for small tasks or simple conversations. To sum up this chapter, let me remind you that learning English is a process, and it's not about getting everything perfect right away. It's about starting where you are, taking one step at a time, and most importantly, enjoying the journey. The more you practice, the more you'll find yourself improving. You'll get better at understanding conversations, you'll gain more confidence, and you'll start seeing the language come alive in your daily life. I'm excited for you to start this journey. Keep an open mind, stay motivated, and let's dive in. The road to learning English might seem long, but with the right approach, you'll get there faster than you think. Chapter 2: The Basics of Language Learning. Welcome to Chapter 2. Now that you've gotten an introduction to the importance of learning English, it's time to dig deeper into the very basics of language learning. In this chapter, we're going to break down some essential principles that will guide you as you embark on your English language journey. Before we jump into the details, let's talk about something crucial. Language learning is a skill, and like any skill, it requires time, patience, and practice. Some people may pick it up quickly while others take a bit longer, and that's perfectly okay. The key is to stay committed and consistent. Every day you practice, you're building your foundation, and that's what matters most. So, where do we begin? Well, there are several key components to learning any language, and we'll go through each one in this chapter. These components will help you get a clearer understanding of what you need to focus on, so let's break them down. Understanding the components of language. Language isn't just a collection of words. It's made up of multiple interconnected components, each of which plays an important role in how you learn and use that language. These components include phonetics and phonology, vocabulary, grammar, speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills. Let's start with the basics of each one. Phonetics and phonology, the sounds of language. When you think about learning English, you might imagine sitting down and memorizing lists of vocabulary words. But before we even get to that, we need to understand the sounds of the language. Phonetics is the study of the sounds in a language. This is incredibly important because every language has its own unique set of sounds, and knowing how to pronounce these sounds correctly is vital for clear communication. Phonology refers to how sounds are organized and patterned in a language. For example, in English, we have vowel sounds like A, E, I, O, and U, and we also have consonants like B, C, and D. These sounds come together to form syllables, words, and sentences. Understanding how these sounds work is crucial for pronunciation and understanding spoken English. In English, there are about 41 phonemes, the smallest units of sound, and each one plays a role in how we pronounce words. This is why it's important to listen carefully to native speakers, repeat the sounds you hear, and practice until you feel confident in your pronunciation. Building your vocabulary. Once you've grasped the basic sounds, the next step is to focus on building your vocabulary, the words you'll need to communicate effectively. Vocabulary is the foundation of any language, and without a strong word bank, it's going to be difficult to express yourself or understand others. But here's the thing. You don't need to learn every single word in the language. That's simply not realistic. Instead, you should focus on learning the most useful words first, words that you'll encounter often in everyday conversations. This means learning common nouns, verbs, adjectives, and phrases. For example, start with words like hello, goodbye, please, thank you, and how are you? These are words that you'll use all the time when talking to people. As you become more comfortable, you can expand your vocabulary to include more specific words related to your interests, job, or hobbies. It's important to learn words in context. Instead of memorizing isolated words, try to learn them in sentences or phrases. This way, you'll be able to see how they are used in real-life situations, and it will help you remember them better. 4. Grammar. The structure of language. Grammar is often the hardest part of learning a new language, and many learners struggle with it. It's true that English grammar has its quirks, and there are plenty of rules to remember, but don't let that intimidate you. The purpose of grammar is to give structure to the language. It allows us to form sentences that others can understand. In English, grammar includes things like sentence structure, verb tenses, word order, and subject-verb agreement. For example, in English, we typically follow a subject-verb-object structure in sentences. So, I eat an apple follows that order. I is the subject, eat is the verb, and an apple is the object. One of the best ways to approach grammar is to learn it gradually. Start with the basics. Learn how to form simple sentences. Use present tense verbs and make questions. Once you get comfortable with these, you can move on to more complex topics like past and future tenses, conditionals, and so on. Grammar books and online resources are great tools, but remember that practice makes perfect. Don't worry too much about making mistakes. Focus on communication first. As you practice speaking, writing, and listening, your grammar will improve naturally. The 4 skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. There are 4 main skills you need to master when learning a language: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. These skills are all interconnected, and they work together to help you become fluent in English. Let's take a closer look at each skill. Speaking. Speaking is probably the most challenging skill for learners because it requires you to use the language in real time. You have to think quickly, form sentences, and pronounce words correctly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just speak as much as you can. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get. Listening. Listening is just as important as speaking. In order to understand others, you need to develop good listening skills. Listen to native speakers as much as possible, whether it's in movies, podcasts, or conversations with friends. Try to focus on understanding the context and meaning, not just individual words. The more you listen, the better your comprehension will become. Reading. Reading helps you expand your vocabulary and reinforces grammar. Start with simple texts, like short stories or children's books, and gradually work your way up to more complex material. When you read, pay attention to the sentence structure, word choices, and how the writer expresses ideas. This will help you build fluency and improve your writing as well. Writing. Writing is a skill that requires practice and attention to detail. It helps you organize your thoughts and express yourself clearly. Start by writing simple sentences, and then gradually challenge yourself to write short paragraphs, essays, or even creative pieces. The more you write, the better you'll get at constructing sentences, using grammar correctly, and expanding your vocabulary. The importance of consistency. One of the most important aspects of language learning is consistency. It's easy to get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. But the key to success is practicing every day. Even if it's just for a few minutes, try to incorporate English into your daily routine. Here are some ways you can practice consistently. Set daily goals. Start by setting a small goal for each day, such as learning 10 new words or listening to a short podcast. Immerse yourself in the language. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Watch movies, listen to music, and read books in English. Practice speaking regularly. Don't wait for the perfect moment to practice speaking. Talk to yourself, repeat phrases you've learned, and try to have conversations with others whenever you can. Developing a growth mindset. Finally, remember that learning English is a journey, and it's important to have the right mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that your abilities can improve with effort and practice. So, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process. The more you practice and push yourself out of your comfort zone, the more you'll improve. In conclusion, learning English involves understanding its sounds, building your vocabulary, mastering grammar, and practicing speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Don't be discouraged by the challenges you might face. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and remember that language learning is a gradual process. With time and effort, you'll start seeing progress, and soon enough, speaking English will feel natural. That's all for Chapter 2. Now, let's move on to the next steps in your language learning journey. Keep going, and remember, every word you learn is a step closer to fluency. Chapter 3. Foundations of English Fluency. Welcome to Chapter 3. By now, you've gained a basic understanding of how to approach learning English, and now it's time to dive into one of the most important aspects of language learning: fluency. In this chapter, we're going to explore what fluency truly means, why it's so essential, and how you can start building the foundation for it. This is where things start to get exciting. When people think about fluency, they often imagine speaking effortlessly, understanding everything, and being able to hold a conversation with native speakers without hesitation. While this might sound like the ultimate goal, fluency is not something you achieve overnight. It's a process that takes time, practice, and consistency. The good news is that you're already on the right path by learning and practicing English. And now, we're going to help you take that next step toward fluency. What is fluency? Fluency isn't just about speaking fast or using complex words. It's about being able to communicate comfortably without feeling stuck or constantly translating in your head. In other words, fluency is the ability to speak and understand English with ease. When you're fluent, you can express your ideas clearly and confidently, even if you make mistakes along the way. It's about communication, not perfection. There are a few key characteristics that define fluency. Ease in communication. Fluency means that you can get your point across without struggling to find words. You can speak freely and without hesitation. Understanding without translation. Fluency involves thinking directly in English. Instead of translating from your native language, you start understanding and forming sentences naturally in English. Confidence. Fluency is also about feeling comfortable when speaking. You might still make mistakes, but fluency means you don't get discouraged by them. You just keep going. The role of practice in achieving fluency. Here's the most important thing to remember about fluency. It doesn't come from memorizing lists of vocabulary or sitting in a classroom. It comes from consistent practice. The more you practice, the more comfortable you will become with the language. But what kind of practice helps build fluency? The answer is simple. Real-world practice. To truly become fluent, you need to use English in real-life situations. This means talking to people, listening to native speakers, reading books and articles, and writing regularly. All of these activities will help you develop the language skills necessary for fluency. Building confidence in speaking. One of the most challenging aspects of language learning is speaking. It's natural to feel nervous or unsure, especially when you're speaking a language that isn't your first. But the key to fluency is practice, and the key to practice is confidence. Confidence plays a huge role in your ability to speak fluently. The more confident you are, the more you'll be willing to take risks with the language. You'll feel less afraid to make mistakes and more willing to speak with others, which in turn helps you improve. Confidence doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. It means that you're willing to keep going, even if things don't come out perfectly. Here's a tip. Don't wait for the perfect moment to speak. If you wait until you feel completely ready, or until you know all the grammar rules, you'll be waiting forever. Instead, start speaking as soon as possible. Even if it's just a few simple sentences at first. The more you speak, the more natural it will feel. Understanding the importance of listening. Fluency isn't just about speaking. It's also about listening. The better your listening skills, the easier it will be to understand native speakers and respond naturally. Listening helps you pick up on things like intonation, accent, and the natural flow of conversation, all of which are key to sounding more fluent. Start by listening to a variety of content in English. Watch movies, listen to podcasts, and tune into radio stations or YouTube channels. Try to expose yourself to different accents, speeds of speech, and types of content. This will help you become more adaptable to various speaking styles. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. At first, as you keep practicing, your listening skills will improve, and you'll start picking up more words and phrases. A good exercise is to listen to a short clip or conversation and try to summarize what you heard. This will help you improve your comprehension and your ability to respond in a conversation. 5. Speaking versus reading and writing. You might think that reading and writing are the most important parts of language learning, and while they're essential, speaking is what sets fluency apart. It's easy to read and write in a language when you have the time to think about your words, but speaking requires you to think quickly and respond on the spot. This is why speaking practice is crucial for building fluency. It's important to remember that reading and writing are passive skills, while speaking is an active skill. To be fluent, you need to engage in active communication where you don't have the luxury of stopping and thinking about every word. The more you practice speaking, the more fluent you will become. Here's a good way to balance your learning. Start by reading and writing to improve your vocabulary and grammar, but make sure you practice speaking every day as well. Speaking will help solidify everything you've learned and make it easier to use in real conversations. Common mistakes in the path to fluency. When you're working toward fluency, there are several common mistakes that learners often make. It's important to be aware of these so that you can avoid them and continue making progress. Focusing too much on grammar. While grammar is important, it shouldn't be the focus of your entire language learning journey. Fluency comes from communicating. If you focus too much on grammar rules, you'll find yourself overthinking every sentence, which can slow you down. Instead, try to communicate and learn from your mistakes along the way. Avoiding speaking because of fear. Fear of making mistakes is one of the biggest barriers to fluency. But the truth is, mistakes are inevitable. The more you speak, the more mistakes you'll make, but the more you'll also learn from them. Don't be afraid to speak, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Not practicing enough. The biggest mistake you can make is not practicing regularly. Fluency is built over time, and the more you practice speaking, listening, reading, and writing, the faster you'll improve. Consistency is key. 7. Practical strategies for building fluency. Now that you understand the importance of practice, confidence, and listening, let's look at some practical strategies you can use to build your fluency. Engage in daily conversations. Try to speak English every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Find a language partner, join a conversation group, or talk to yourself in English. The more you speak, the more confident and fluent you will become. Use technology. There are countless apps, websites, and tools available to help you practice your English. Platforms like Duolingo, HelloTalk, or Tandem allow you to connect with native speakers and practice conversation. Don't underestimate the power of technology in helping you practice. Shadow. Native speakers. One technique that many learners find useful is shadowing, which means repeating what a native speaker says, word for word as you listen. This will help you get used to the rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation of the language. Focus on pronunciation. Pronunciation is a key part of fluency. Practice mimicking native speakers' accents and pay close attention to stress, intonation, and pitch. There are many online resources and apps specifically designed to help you improve your pronunciation. Immerse yourself. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Watch movies and TV shows, read books, and listen to podcasts. Immerse yourself in the language so that it becomes a natural part of your daily routine. Embrace the journey of fluency. Finally, remember that fluency is a journey, not a destination. It's not about being perfect, but about continuing to improve and using the language confidently. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. Fluency comes from the willingness to keep going, even when things don't go as planned. Celebrate your progress along the way, no matter how small it may seem. Whether you have your first real conversation in English, understand a podcast without subtitles, or finally get the pronunciation of a tricky word right, every step forward is a success. Conclusion. Building fluency in English is a gradual process, but with the right mindset and consistent practice, it is absolutely achievable. Focus on speaking and listening. Build your confidence and embrace the mistakes along the way. As you continue to practice, you'll find that English will begin to feel more natural, and soon enough, you'll be able to communicate comfortably and fluently. That's it for Chapter 3. Now, let's move on to the next steps in your journey toward English fluency. Keep practicing and remember, fluency is not about perfection. It's about progress. Chapter 4. Boosting Confidence and Small Talk. Welcome to Chapter 4. Now that you've got a solid understanding of fluency, it's time to dive into one of the most powerful tools you can use to improve your English: confidence. In this chapter, we're going to explore how you can build confidence in speaking English, even if you're a beginner, and how you can use small talk to kickstart your fluency journey. Let's get started. Why confidence is key. One of the biggest barriers to fluency for many learners is confidence. It's natural to feel self-conscious when speaking a language you're still learning, especially when you're afraid of making mistakes. But here's the truth. You will make mistakes. In fact, making mistakes is one of the most important parts of the learning process. It's how we improve. If you're too afraid of making a mistake, you'll avoid speaking, and that's the fastest way to slow down your progress. Confidence in speaking comes from practice. The more you speak, the more comfortable and confident you will become. But you don't need to wait until you feel completely confident to start speaking. In fact, confidence comes from action. The more you put yourself out there, the more your confidence will grow. Think about this. Every time you speak in English, you are improving. Whether you're talking to a native speaker or just practicing by yourself, each interaction is a chance to learn. So don't wait for the perfect moment or until you feel completely ready. Start speaking now, and you'll see that your confidence builds naturally. Overcoming the fear of mistakes. As we've already discussed, one of the main reasons learners lack confidence is the fear of making mistakes. But here's the secret. Nobody speaks perfectly all the time, not even native speakers. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's okay. What matters most is how you handle those mistakes. Instead of getting embarrassed or frustrated when you make an error, treat it as a learning opportunity. Mistakes are proof that you're trying, and every mistake is a step closer to becoming fluent. Think of mistakes as building blocks. They help you refine your skills and push you forward. So, embrace them. If you make a mistake while speaking, don't apologize too much. Simply acknowledge it, correct it if necessary, and move on. The more relaxed and confident you are, the less attention you'll draw to the mistake. Remember, most people will appreciate your effort to speak their language, and they'll likely be very understanding if you make a mistake. A good way to overcome the fear of mistakes is to practice self-affirmations. Before speaking, tell yourself, "I am doing my best, and I am here to learn." Remind yourself that learning a language takes time and that confidence is built step by step. Start small. The power of small talk. Now that we've covered confidence, let's talk about one of the most useful tools for building confidence and fluency: small talk. Small talk refers to casual conversations about simple topics, often used to start or maintain a conversation in social situations. It's an essential part of language learning because it helps you practice speaking in everyday situations and gives you the confidence to communicate with others. You don't need to jump straight into deep or complex conversations. In fact, small talk is often the best way to get started. Think of it as the warm-up for a larger conversation. The more you practice small talk, the easier it will be to continue the conversation and talk about more complex topics later on. Some common small talk topics include the weather. It's a beautiful day today, isn't it? What you're doing. What have you been up to lately? Compliments. I like your jacket. Where did you get it? Current events. Did you hear about that new movie coming out this weekend? Starting a conversation with these simple topics allows you to ease into speaking, and it gives you a chance to practice without feeling pressured. When you're talking to someone, don't worry about saying something impressive. Just focus on keeping the conversation flowing. How to keep a small talk conversation going. The key to small talk is asking questions. Asking open-ended questions helps to keep the conversation going and shows that you're interested in what the other person has to say. For example, instead of asking, "Did you have a good weekend?" try asking, "What did you do over the weekend?" Instead of, "Is it hot today?" you can ask, "How do you usually spend a hot day like this?" Open-ended questions require more than just a yes or no answer, and they encourage the other person to share more. This helps you keep the conversation flowing and gives you more opportunities to practice speaking and listening. If you don't understand something the other person says, don't hesitate to ask for clarification. You can politely say, "Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't catch that. What do you mean? Can you say that again more slowly, please?" Most people will be more than happy to repeat themselves or explain something in a different way if it means you can understand them better. Tips for building confidence in small talk. Here are some practical tips to help you feel more confident. While engaging in small talk, smile and relax. When you smile and show that you're friendly and open, it makes it easier for both you and the person you're talking to. Relax and remind yourself that the purpose of small talk is just to practice communication. It's not about being perfect. Be present. Listen carefully to what the other person is saying and respond thoughtfully. Don't focus too much on what you're going to say next. Instead, focus on the conversation at hand. This will help you feel more comfortable and less self-conscious. Practice, practice, practice. The more you engage in small talk, the more confident you'll become. Try to find opportunities to practice every day. You can practice with friends, family, or even strangers you meet. You could also practice with language exchange partners or use language learning apps that offer conversational practice. Don't worry about perfection. It's okay if you don't have the perfect response or if you make a mistake. Focus on keeping the conversation going and practicing your speaking. Your goal is communication, not perfection. Learn to ask for help. If you don't understand something or if you're struggling with a word or phrase, ask the other person for help. People appreciate when you're trying to learn, and they'll be happy to assist you. Using technology for confidence building. If you're shy or don't have many opportunities to speak English in real life, technology can be a great way to practice. There are many apps and websites that offer opportunities for small talk and conversation practice. Some options include HelloTalk and Tandem. These apps allow you to connect with native speakers for language exchange. Italki, you can take one-on-one lessons with teachers or have informal conversations with language partners. Conversation exchange. This platform allows you to find language partners for Skype calls or in-person meetings. These platforms allow you to practice speaking in a low-pressure environment, helping you gain confidence before you engage in more complex conversations. Over time, as you practice more, you'll find that your fear of speaking begins to fade. The role of body language in small talk. While words are important, body language plays a huge role in communication, especially in small talk. When you're speaking English, pay attention to your body language. Good body language can help you feel more confident and make your conversation partner feel more comfortable as well. Here are a few tips. Make eye contact. This shows that you're engaged. In the conversation, use open gestures. Avoid crossing your arms or looking disinterested. Instead, keep your posture open and relaxed. Smile. Smiling makes you appear friendly and approachable, which will make the conversation flow more smoothly. Conclusion. Confidence is a skill you can develop. Remember, confidence is something you can develop over time. It's not about being perfect. It's about pushing through the discomfort and practicing consistently. Small talk is one of the easiest and most effective ways to build your confidence, and it's a great way to get comfortable with speaking English. The more you practice, the more natural it will feel. So, start today. Talk to someone. Ask questions. Share your thoughts and keep the conversation flowing. You've got this. Chapter 5. Improving Listening Skills. Welcome to Chapter 5. Now that you've been building your speaking confidence and practicing small talk, it's time to focus on another critical aspect of language learning: listening. Listening is just as important as speaking, reading, and writing, and it plays a huge role in your overall fluency in English. In this chapter, we're going to explore how you can improve your listening skills so that you can better understand native speakers and engage more naturally in conversations. The importance of listening in language learning. Many learners focus primarily on speaking or reading when learning a language, but listening is essential for developing fluency. The better your listening skills, the more you'll understand what others are saying, which will, in turn, make it easier for you to respond in a natural and confident way. Listening helps you understand pronunciation and intonation. The more you listen to native speakers, the more you'll notice how they stress certain words, their rhythm, and the natural flow of their speech. Pick up new vocabulary and expressions. By listening, you expose yourself to words and phrases used in context, helping you understand how they're used in real-life situations. Recognize different accents and speaking speeds. English is spoken by people all around the world, and everyone has their own accent or way of speaking. The more you listen, the easier it will be to understand different accents and dialects. Remember, listening is a skill that takes time to develop, but with consistent practice, you'll start noticing improvement in how well you can understand. English speakers. The different types of listening. When it comes to improving your listening skills, it's important to understand that listening isn't a one-size-fits-all skill. There are different types of listening, and each one serves a different purpose in your learning process. Let's break them down. Passive listening. This is when you listen to English without actively trying to understand everything. For example, you might listen to a podcast or watch a TV show while doing something else. Passive listening is helpful because it exposes you to the language and helps you get used to hearing it, but you're not focusing intently on understanding every word. Active listening. This is when you focus completely on what you're listening to and actively try to understand every word and detail. You might listen to a conversation, and if you don't understand something, you pause to figure it out. Active listening is crucial for improving comprehension and for developing the skills you need to respond in conversations. Extensive listening. This type of listening involves listening to longer texts or audio, such as listening to an audiobook, watching an entire movie, or listening to a lecture. Extensive listening helps you practice keeping up with speech over longer periods and helps you build stamina when listening to more complex content. Intensive listening. This is when you listen carefully to short audio segments, like a single sentence or paragraph, and focus on understanding every detail. Intensive listening helps you refine your understanding of pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar. Listening to improve your speaking and vocabulary. Listening and speaking go hand in hand. When you listen carefully, you naturally improve your speaking ability too. Here's how. Imitating native speakers. One effective way to improve both your listening and speaking skills is to shadow native speakers. Shadowing means you listen to a short audio clip or conversation and immediately repeat what you hear, mimicking the speaker's pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. This practice helps you improve your accent, pronunciation, and fluency. The more you imitate, the more natural your speaking will become. Building your vocabulary. Listening is an excellent way to expand your vocabulary. As you listen to podcasts, watch TV shows, or engage in conversations, you'll be exposed to new words and phrases. Instead of just hearing them, try to understand them in context. Pay attention to how words are used in sentences and try to remember how they sound when spoken. You can also take note of new vocabulary and look up the meaning later. Learning phrases and idioms. Listening is a great way to pick up idiomatic expressions and phrases. English speakers often use idioms that don't make sense if translated directly. By listening to conversations or watching TV shows, you'll start recognizing these expressions and learning how to use them in context. 4. Practical listening tips. Now that we understand the different types of listening and how listening can improve your speaking and vocabulary, let's look at some practical tips you can use to enhance your listening skills. Start with what you enjoy. The more you enjoy the material you're listening to, the more motivated you'll be to keep going. Choose audio or video content that interests you. For example, if you love cooking, watch cooking shows in English. If you're interested in travel, listen to travel podcasts. The content doesn't have to be difficult. Just make sure it's something you enjoy. Listen to different accents. English is spoken all over the world, and each region has its own accent and way of speaking. Listening to different accents will help you become more adaptable when listening to various speakers. You might listen to British English, American English, Australian English, or even non-native speakers speaking English. The more diverse your listening material, the easier it will be to understand English speakers no matter where they're from. Use subtitles, but gradually reduce them. If you're watching movies or TV shows in English, start by using English subtitles. This will help you connect the words you're hearing with their written form, making it easier to understand. Over time, try watching without subtitles to challenge yourself and improve your listening skills. Repeat and review. If you don't understand something the first time, don't give up. Go back and listen again. Repetition helps you familiarize yourself with the sounds and words of the language. You can also slow down the audio or video if needed, but try to avoid relying on that too much. Gradually increase the speed as you get more comfortable. Listen for specific details. While listening, try to focus on understanding certain details, such as the main idea, specific vocabulary, or particular grammatical structures. For example, try to identify the verbs in the conversation, or pay attention to how questions are asked. This will help you improve your ability to comprehend specific parts of the speech, using technology to improve listening. There are many digital tools available today to help you improve your listening skills. Let's look at some great resources. Podcasts. Listening to podcasts in English is a fantastic way to improve your listening skills. There are podcasts on virtually every topic imaginable: news, culture, science, business, and more. Some popular podcasts for English learners include The English We Speak and 6-Minute English by BBC Learning English. YouTube. YouTube offers countless channels where you can practice listening. Some channels are dedicated to teaching English, such as English with Lucy, BBC Learning English, and Rachel's English. Watching videos with subtitles is a great way to learn both the spoken and written forms of the language. Audiobooks. Listening to audiobooks is a great way to immerse yourself in the language. Choose books that match your current level and try to follow along with the narration. Many audiobooks also have accompanying ebooks, so you can read along as you listen. Language learning apps. Many language learning apps, such as Duolingo, Memrise, and Babbel, include listening exercises. These apps allow you to listen to native speakers and practice understanding spoken English in a structured way. Setting listening goals. To make the most of your listening practice, it's essential to set goals. Here are some ideas for setting. Realistic listening goals. Daily listening. Set a goal to listen to at least 10 to 15 minutes of English audio every day. It doesn't have to be long, just consistent practice. Over time, you can increase the length as your skills improve. Listening. Comprehension. Choose a short video or podcast episode, and after listening, try to summarize the main points or answer questions about the content. This will help improve your comprehension and retention. Challenge yourself. Once you feel comfortable with easy content, challenge yourself by listening to faster or more complex material. Try listening to news broadcasts or debates, where the speech is more advanced. Conclusion. Consistency is key. Improving your listening skills is a journey, and like any skill, it takes time. The most important thing is to stay consistent. Make listening a daily habit, and gradually increase the difficulty of the material you're listening to. Be patient with yourself, and remember that understanding spoken English takes practice. The more you listen, the more you'll improve. By combining active listening, repetition, diverse listening sources, and technology, you'll be well on your way to becoming a confident and fluent listener. Keep going, stay engaged, and enjoy the process. That's all for Chapter 5. Now, let's continue your journey toward mastering English. Chapter 6. Mastering Reading and Vocabulary. Welcome to Chapter 6. Now that you've been focusing on improving your listening skills, it's time to turn our attention to reading and vocabulary. These two skills go hand in hand and play a crucial role in helping you understand the language more deeply, express yourself better, and enhance your fluency. In this chapter, we'll explore how to improve your reading skills and expand your vocabulary in a way that makes learning English enjoyable and effective. Why reading is essential for language learning. Reading is a powerful tool in language learning because it exposes you to the written form of English, helps you build vocabulary, and reinforces grammar and sentence structures. Through reading, you not only learn new words, but you also get to see how those words are used in context. When you read in English, you're not just looking at words on a page. You're training your brain to understand how English works in written form. The more you read, the better your comprehension becomes, and the more natural your speaking and writing skills will be. Reading. Benefits. Builds vocabulary. The more you read, the more words you encounter, which means more opportunities to learn new vocabulary. Reinforces grammar and sentence structure. Reading exposes you to different sentence constructions, punctuation, and the natural flow of language. Improves comprehension. By reading, you'll develop the ability to understand English in various contexts, from books and articles to blogs and social media posts. Enhances fluency. The more you read, the more you'll internalize the language, making it easier for you to speak and understand in everyday situations. Reading helps you connect the words you hear with the words you see. This dual exposure, both spoken and written, is essential for mastering the language. Starting with the right reading material. One of the most important aspects of improving your reading skills is choosing the right material. If you start with something too difficult, you may become frustrated and discouraged. On the other hand, if you choose something too easy, you might not learn enough new vocabulary or concepts. Here are a few tips for selecting the right reading material for your level. Start with material at your level. Choose books, articles, or stories that are written for learners of English at your current level. If you're a beginner, look for books written in simple language, or try reading short stories or children's books. If you're more advanced, you can tackle novels, news articles, or even academic texts. Look for content that interests you. The best way to stay motivated with reading is to read about topics that excite you. Whether it's cooking, travel, technology, or entertainment, pick topics that you enjoy. This will make the learning process much more enjoyable. Use graded readers. Graded readers are books specifically written for language learners with simplified vocabulary and grammar. These books are organized by level, so you can gradually increase the difficulty as you improve. Online articles and blogs. Once you feel comfortable, Try reading articles or blogs in English. The internet offers a wealth of content on any topic you can imagine, and many articles are written in a conversational tone that can help you with everyday language use. Children's books. Don't overlook children's books. They are often written in clear, simple language and can be a great starting point for beginners. Many children's books have illustrations that help you understand the context of the story, which is an added bonus. How to read effectively. Once you've chosen your reading material, it's important to read effectively. Reading isn't just about passively looking at the words. It's about actively engaging with the text so you can learn as much as possible. Here are some strategies to help you get the most out of your reading practice. A. Skimming and scanning. Skimming is when you read through the text quickly to get a general idea of what it's about. This is useful for understanding the overall meaning without focusing on every single detail. Skimming is great for when you're looking for specific information or just want to get the gist of an article or story. Scanning involves looking for specific information or keywords within a text. For example, if you're reading an article and want to find out about the author's opinion on a specific topic, you scan for that keyword or phrase. Scanning helps you read efficiently and find what's important. B. Reading for detail. After skimming or scanning, you can go back and read for detail. This means paying close attention to each word, phrase, and sentence. When reading for detail, focus on understanding the meaning behind the words, not just the individual words themselves. 4. Effective vocabulary building. Now, let's talk about vocabulary. Expanding your vocabulary is one of the most important aspects of mastering a new language. The more words you know, the better you'll be able to understand spoken and written English, and the more you'll be able to express yourself accurately. Here are some practical tips to help you build your vocabulary effectively. A. Contextual learning. When you read in English, it's important to learn words in context. Instead of simply memorizing vocabulary lists, try to understand how words are used in sentences. Pay attention to the context in which the word appears, as this will give you clues about its meaning. For example, if you come across the word stubborn in a sentence like, "She was so stubborn that she refused to change her mind," you can infer that it means not willing to change one's opinion. B. Keep a vocabulary journal. As you read, write down any new words that you come across. Look up their meanings and then write a sentence using the new word. This will help reinforce the word in your memory. By keeping a vocabulary journal, you can track your progress and make sure you're constantly adding new words to your knowledge base. C. Use flashcards. Flashcards are a great tool for memorizing vocabulary. Write the word on one side of the card and the meaning on the other. You can use physical flashcards or apps like Anki, Quizlet, or Memrise to help you review and test yourself. Reviewing flashcards regularly will help reinforce your vocabulary. Over time, D. Practice using new words. Don't just memorize vocabulary, use it. The more you use new words in speaking or writing, the more natural they will become. When you learn a new word, make a conscious effort to incorporate it into your conversations or written exercises. This will help you internalize the vocabulary and make it part of your active language use. Strategies for improving reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is the ability to understand what you're reading, and it's an essential skill in language learning. Here are some strategies to help you improve your comprehension. Summarizing what you read. After finishing a chapter or article, take a moment to summarize what you've read in your own words. This will help you check your understanding and reinforce what you've learned. You can write a short summary or explain it to someone else in English.b. Highlighting key points. As you read, highlight or underline key sentences or phrases that stand out to you. This will help you focus on the most important information and make it easier to review later. C. Rereading for understanding. If you didn't fully understand a passage the first time, don't be afraid to reread it. Sometimes, a second or third. Reading is necessary for grasping the full meaning. With each rereading, you'll gain a deeper understanding of the text. Engaging with different types of texts. To improve your reading skills, it's essential to read a variety of texts. Different types of material will expose you to different language structures, vocabulary, and writing styles. Here are a few examples of different types of texts you can engage with. Stories and novels. Fictional stories and novels help you practice reading for pleasure while learning new vocabulary and sentence structures. They're a great way to build fluency and immerse yourself in the language. News articles. Reading news articles will help you stay up to date with current events while also improving your ability to read formal and informative texts. News articles often have a clear structure and use a mix of simple and complex sentences. Academic texts. Once you feel more confident, try reading academic articles or textbooks. These texts are often more complex and use formal language, but they'll expose you to academic vocabulary and help you understand more advanced English. Blogs and social media. Blogs and social media posts are often written in a conversational tone, and they give you a chance to practice reading casual, everyday English. These texts are also great for learning contemporary slang and informal expressions. Conclusion: making reading a daily habit. The more you read, the better you'll become at understanding English, expanding your vocabulary, and improving your fluency. Make reading a daily habit and gradually challenge yourself with more difficult material. Don't be discouraged if you don't understand everything at once. Just keep going, and over time you'll see your reading comprehension improve. Remember that reading is just one part of the equation. Combine your reading practice with listening, speaking, and writing, and soon enough, you'll be well on your way to mastering English. That's it for Chapter 6. Now, let's keep moving forward with more tips and strategies to help you achieve fluency in English. Chapter 7. Memorizing vocabulary and idioms. Welcome to Chapter 7. By now, you've been working on improving your listening, speaking, and reading skills, and you've learned how crucial it is to expand your vocabulary. In this chapter, we'll take a deeper dive into memorizing vocabulary and learning idioms, two essential aspects of mastering English. We'll explore how to effectively retain vocabulary, expand your word bank, and integrate idiomatic expressions into your everyday language use. Let's get started. Why vocabulary matters. Vocabulary is the foundation of language. Whether you're writing, speaking, reading, or listening, you need to have a solid vocabulary to understand others and express your ideas clearly. The more words you know, the easier it becomes to understand different contexts, participate in conversations, and read various types of material without feeling lost. When you start learning English, you don't need to know every word in the dictionary. Instead, focus on learning useful words that will help you in everyday conversations and situations. As you progress, you can start learning more specialized vocabulary related to your interests, work, or hobbies. Building a wide vocabulary also allows you to sound more fluent, helping you avoid overusing the same words or phrases. By expanding your word bank, you can express yourself more clearly and accurately, making you sound more natural when speaking or writing in English. How to memorize vocabulary effectively. When it comes to memorizing vocabulary, it's important to focus on strategies that help you retain words long-term, not just learn them temporarily. Here are some methods you can use to memorize vocabulary more effectively. A. Use the word in context. One of the most effective ways to remember a word is to learn it in context. Instead of memorizing the word in isolation, try to learn it within a sentence or a real-life scenario. This will help you understand how the word is used and how it fits naturally into conversations. For example, instead of just learning the word happy, you can learn it in a sentence like, "She felt happy when she got the promotion." Learning vocabulary in context makes it easier to remember because you associate the word with a meaningful sentence or situation. B. Create visual associations. Another powerful memorization technique is to create visual associations. Our brains, are good at remembering images. So if you can associate a word with a picture or an image in your mind, you'll be able to recall the word more easily. For example, if you're learning the word mountain, imagine a picture of a mountain in your mind. The next time you hear the word mountain, you'll be able to picture it in your mind, which will make the word easier to remember. C. Use flashcards. Flashcards are a classic memorization tool for a reason. They work. Write the word on one side and its definition, an example sentence, or a picture on the other. You can use physical flashcards, but digital flashcards, through apps like Anki or Quizlet, are also a great option since they allow you to review them anywhere and anytime. Flashcards are effective because they let you test your memory regularly, and repetition is key to memorization. The more you review a word, the more it will stick in your long-term memory. D. Break it down into smaller chunks. Instead of trying to learn too many words at once, break them down into smaller chunks. For example, learn 10 words a day rather than 50. Learning a few words consistently is more effective than cramming large amounts of vocabulary into your memory at once. You can group the words by themes, such as learning all the names of fruits, places, or common verbs at once. This way, you create associations between the words, which makes them easier to remember. E. Spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is a memorization technique that involves reviewing words at increasing intervals. For example, review a word the day after you learn it, then after 3 days, then after a week, and so on. The idea is that as you review the words at spaced intervals, they are reinforced in your long-term memory. Apps like Anki or Memrise are built around the spaced repetition method, so you can make use of these tools to maximize your vocabulary retention. Learning idioms and expressions. While learning vocabulary is essential, idioms and expressions are just as important for mastering English. Idioms are phrases where the meaning isn't literal. They are often used in everyday conversation, so knowing them helps you sound more fluent and helps you understand native speakers better. Learning idioms can be tricky because their meanings aren't obvious from the individual words. For example, break the ice doesn't mean literally breaking ice. It means to make people feel comfortable and start a conversation. Here are a few steps to help you learn idioms more effectively. A. Learn idioms in context. Just like with vocabulary, learning idioms in context is crucial. Idioms don't always translate well across cultures, so understanding how and when they're used is just as important as knowing their meanings. For example, kick the bucket means to die, but it's not something you'd use in a serious conversation. It's more casual and often used humorously. Bite the bullet means to do something difficult or unpleasant. such as accepting a challenge. By learning idioms in context, you'll better understand when and how to use them. B. Make a list of idioms you want to learn. Create a list of the idioms you encounter while reading, listening, or speaking in English. Look up their meanings and write example sentences to help you understand them in context. Review this list regularly to reinforce your understanding. C. Practice. Using idioms. Incorporating idioms into your daily conversations is a great way to solidify them in your memory. Don't be afraid to use them even if you're not entirely sure you're using them perfectly. By practicing, you'll become more comfortable with them. For example, if you're talking about a challenging task, you could say, "I'm going to bite the bullet and finish this project today." D. Use idioms from different sources. To learn a variety of idioms, listen to native speakers, watch movies, or read books. Different sources will expose you to different idiomatic expressions and help you understand them in various contexts. You can also use websites, apps, and books that specialize in idioms. The Idioms app and English Idioms and Phrases are excellent resources for discovering new idiomatic expressions. Building vocabulary with word families. Another great way to expand your vocabulary is by learning word families. A word family consists of words that come from the same root word but are used in different ways. For example, the word happy has several related words in its family, such as happiness, noun; happily, adverb; unhappy, adjective; happiness, noun. By learning the different forms of a word, you increase your vocabulary and also understand how the word can be used in different contexts. This is particularly useful for building more complex sentences and making your language use sound more natural. Common strategies to review vocabulary and idioms. Here are some practical ways to keep track of and review the vocabulary and idioms you learn. Write and speak. Using new words. Don't just study vocabulary in isolation. Try to use new words and idioms in writing exercises or conversations. This helps reinforce their meanings and helps you remember them longer. Flashcard games. If you enjoy games, try turning your flashcards into a competitive challenge. See how fast you can go through them or test your memory by flipping cards and trying to recall the definition or example sentence. Vocabulary apps. Use apps designed for learning new vocabulary. Many of these apps will test you regularly, helping you retain the words you've learned. Set vocabulary goals. Create weekly goals for learning new words. For example, try learning 20 new words and 5 new idioms each week. This will help you stay motivated and track your progress. Teach others. One of the best ways to reinforce vocabulary and idioms is to teach them to others. If you have a study, partner, or even if you're just speaking with friends or family, try to explain what the words mean and how to use them. Conclusion: consistency and practice. Memorizing vocabulary and idioms is not something that happens overnight. It requires consistent practice and engagement with the language. The more you read, listen, speak, and write in English, the more opportunities you'll have to learn and use new words and expressions. Remember, the key to mastering vocabulary and idioms is not just to memorize them, but to use them in real-world contexts. Whether it's a conversation with a friend, a post on social media, or a writing exercise, use the new words and idioms you've learned to make them part of your active vocabulary. By following the strategies in this chapter, you'll continue to expand your language skills and gain more confidence in your ability to communicate naturally in English. That's it for Chapter 7. Now let's keep moving forward on your journey to mastering English, one word and idiom at a time. Chapter 8. Writing Practice and Improvement. Welcome to Chapter 8. By now, you've made great progress with your listening, speaking, and reading skills. But there's one more area we need to focus on to round out your language mastery. Writing. Writing is an essential skill for any language learner, and it plays a significant role in your overall fluency. In this chapter, we will explore how to improve your writing skills, practice writing effectively, and develop strategies that will help you become a more confident and proficient writer in English. Why writing matters. Writing may not be the first skill people think about when learning a language, but it's just as important as speaking and listening. Writing is a powerful tool for reinforcing what you've learned, expressing your thoughts clearly, and practicing grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure in a structured way. It also allows you to communicate effectively in various contexts, whether for school, work, or personal expression. Here are some reasons why writing is a crucial skill in language learning. Reinforces learning. When you write, you actively use the vocabulary and grammar you've learned, reinforcing your understanding and improving your memory. Helps you organize your thoughts. Writing helps you clarify your ideas and communicate them in a structured manner. Improves grammar and sentence structure. Writing forces you to pay attention to sentence formation, punctuation, and grammar, which naturally improves your language skills. Expresses ideas clearly. Strong writing skills are essential for expressing ideas, whether you're writing a formal email, a personal blog, or a story. Boosts confidence. When you're able to write in English with ease, you feel more confident in your overall language skills. In this chapter, we'll go over the essential strategies for improving your writing, including how to practice consistently, structure your writing, and refine your grammar and vocabulary. Building the habit of writing. One of the most important steps to becoming a better writer is to build the habit of writing regularly. Just like any other skill, the more you practice, the better you become. But it's not just about writing whenever you feel like it. It's about creating a consistent writing routine that works for you. Here are some tips to help you build your writing habit. A. Set a daily writing goal. Start small by setting a manageable writing goal for yourself each day. Whether it's writing 100 words, completing a short paragraph, or writing for 15 minutes each day, setting a goal helps you stay motivated and focused. Gradually increase your writing goal as you get more comfortable. B. Write about what you enjoy. If you're not sure where to start, write about topics that interest you. Whether it's your favorite hobbies, travel experiences, or thoughts on a book or movie, writing about things you enjoy will make the process more enjoyable and help you stay engaged. The more you enjoy the subject, the more you'll want to write. Keep a journal. A great way to get into the habit of writing is to keep a daily journal. Write about your day, your thoughts, and your goals in English. This is a low-pressure way to practice writing because you're not worrying about grammar perfection. You're just expressing your ideas freely. D. Use writing prompts. If you find yourself struggling to come up with things to write about, use writing prompts. These are short, open-ended statements or questions that inspire you to write. For example, write about your favorite place in the world. Describe a time when you had to overcome a challenge. What would you do if you won the lottery? Writing prompts help you get started and can inspire your creativity. Organizing your writing. One of the key aspects of strong writing is organization. Whether you're writing an essay, a letter, or a blog post, your writing needs to follow a logical structure so that your ideas are clear and easy to understand. Good organization also helps the reader follow your thoughts step by step. Here's a basic structure for organizing your writing. A. Introduction. The introduction is the first paragraph of your writing and should include an overview of the topic you'll be discussing. It's important to grab the reader's attention with an interesting opening sentence. Your introduction should also introduce the main idea or thesis of your piece. For example, if you're writing about the benefits of exercise, your introduction might start with a hook like, "Exercise is more than just a way to stay fit. It's a crucial part of maintaining a healthy lifestyle and improving your overall well-being." B. Body paragraphs. The body paragraphs are the main part of your writing. Each paragraph should focus on one specific idea or point related to the topic. Start each paragraph with a clear topic sentence, followed by supporting details, examples, or evidence. For example, in the body paragraph about the benefits of exercise for mental health, you could write, "Exercise is known to improve mental health by reducing stress and anxiety. Regular physical activity increases the production of endorphins, the body's natural mood boosters." C. Conclusion. The conclusion is the final paragraph of your writing. It should summarize the key points you've discussed and restate your main idea or thesis in a new way. Your conclusion should leave the reader with a sense of closure. 4. Example. In conclusion, exercise offers numerous physical and mental health benefits, making it an essential part of a balanced lifestyle. 4. Refining grammar and sentence structure. Writing gives you the opportunity to focus on grammar and sentence structure. You have more time to think about how you want to express your ideas, and you can revise your sentences to make sure they are clear and grammatically correct. Here are some tips to help you improve your grammar and sentence structure. Focus on sentence variety. To make your writing more engaging, vary the structure of your sentences. Use a mix of short and long sentences, simple and complex sentences. This makes your writing flow more naturally and keeps the reader interested. For example, simple sentence: exercise improves health. Compound sentence: exercise improves health and it helps to reduce stress. Complex sentence: while exercise improves physical health, it also plays a vital role in mental well-being. B. Use transitions. Transitions help to guide the reader through your writing and show the relationship between different ideas. Words like firstly, however, for example, and in conclusion help connect your sentences and paragraphs. For example, firstly, exercise has numerous physical benefits, such as improving cardiovascular health. However, exercise also has a positive impact on mental health. C. Avoid repetition. In writing, avoid repeating the same words or phrases too often. Instead, use synonyms or rephrase sentences to make your writing more interesting and diverse. Repetition can make your writing sound monotonous and less engaging. For example, repetition. Exercise is good for your health. Exercise helps you stay fit. Revised. Exercise is good for your health and can improve your fitness levels. D. Pay attention to punctuation. Proper punctuation is essential for clarity. Make sure to use commas, periods, question marks, and other punctuation marks correctly to avoid confusion. For example, commas are used to separate items in a list or set off introductory clauses. For example, correct: after a long day at work, I enjoy taking a walk in the park. Incorrect: After a long day at work, I enjoy taking a walk in the park. Editing and proofreading your writing. Once you've written your piece, the next step is to edit and proofread. This is where you focus on improving the quality of your writing by fixing mistakes and making revisions. Editing is about checking for grammar, spelling, and punctuation errors, while proofreading is about looking at the overall structure and content of your writing. Here are some tips for editing and proofreading. A. Take a break before editing. After finishing your first draft, take a break before you start editing. This allows you to look at your writing with fresh eyes and helps you spot mistakes you might have missed. B. Read aloud. Reading your writing aloud can help you identify awkward sentences or grammatical errors. If something doesn't sound right, when you read it, it probably needs revision. C. Use grammar and spell check tools. Tools like Grammarly or the built-in spelling and grammar check in word processors can be helpful in catching basic errors. However, don't rely on them completely. Be sure to read your work carefully. D. Get feedback from others. If possible, ask a friend, teacher, or language partner to read your writing and provide feedback. They may notice things that you missed and offer helpful suggestions for improvement. 6. Writing practice exercises. Here are some writing exercises you can do to improve your writing skills. Write daily. Set aside time each day to write in English. It could be anything from journaling about your day to writing short stories or essays. Respond to prompts. Use writing prompts to practice different types of writing. These prompts can help you explore new topics and expand your vocabulary. Write essays. Write essays on a variety of topics. Try to structure them with an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. This will help you practice organizing your thoughts clearly. Summarize articles. Read an article or a chapter from a book, then write a brief summary of what you've read. This will help improve your comprehension and writing skills simultaneously. Conclusion. Practice, patience, and progress. Writing is an essential skill that takes time to develop. It's not about writing perfectly from the beginning. It's about practicing consistently, making improvements, and learning from your mistakes. With time and dedication, your writing will improve, and you'll become more confident in expressing your ideas in English. Remember to write regularly, focus on structure and clarity, and continually refine your grammar and vocabulary. The more you write, the more fluent and natural your writing will become. That's it for Chapter 8. Now, let's continue honing your writing skills and move on to the next chapter of your English journey. Chapter 9. Common mistakes to avoid. Welcome to Chapter 9. By now, you've made significant progress in improving your English skills, and you're building more confidence in your speaking, listening, reading, and writing abilities. However, even the most experienced learners can still make mistakes along the way. In this chapter, we will focus on some of the most common mistakes that learners of English tend to make, and will provide practical tips and strategies to help you avoid them. Understanding these common pitfalls and how to avoid them will make you a more effective and confident English speaker. Mistake number 1. Overusing simple vocabulary. One of the most common mistakes learners make is relying too heavily on basic vocabulary. While it's essential to know simple words, if you only use basic words, your speech and writing may sound repetitive and lack depth. English is a rich language with many synonyms and nuances, and expanding your vocabulary will help you express yourself more clearly and effectively. How to avoid it. Learn synonyms. Whenever you learn a new word, take the time to learn synonyms, words that have similar meanings but are more varied. For example, instead of always using good, try words like great, excellent, fantastic, or outstanding. Read more. Reading exposes you to new words and phrases in context. When you come across unfamiliar words, make a note of them, look up their meanings, and try to incorporate them into your own vocabulary. Practice using new vocabulary. Once you learn new words, make an effort to use them in conversations and writing. The more you use new vocabulary, the more natural it will become. Mistake number 2. Neglecting pronunciation. Pronunciation is crucial for clear communication, but many learners don't pay enough attention to how words are pronounced. Even if you know a lot of vocabulary and grammar, if you're not pronouncing words correctly, it can make your speech difficult to understand. Common pronunciation mistakes often arise from differences in your native language's sound system compared to English. How to avoid it. Listen to native speakers. Pay attention to how native speakers pronounce words, especially the stress on syllables, intonation, and rhythm of sentences. Watching movies, TV shows, or listening to podcasts in English will help. Practice speaking aloud. Practice saying new words and sentences out loud. If you're unsure of how to pronounce something, use online resources like Forvo or Google Translate that provide audio examples of pronunciation. Record yourself. Recording yourself speaking can be a great way to assess your pronunciation. Listen back and compare it to native speakers to identify areas where you can improve. Use a phonetic dictionary. A phonetic dictionary can be helpful in understanding how words should sound, especially if you're not sure about the pronunciation. Mistake number 3. Misusing tenses. English has a variety of tenses that indicate different times and actions, and this can be confusing for learners. One of the most common mistakes is using the wrong tense in a sentence, which can lead to confusion and miscommunication. How to avoid it. Understand tense usage. Take the time to study the different tenses in English: present, past, future, and their respective continuous and perfect forms. Understand when and why each tense is used. Present simple, for habitual actions or general truths. Example: I go to the gym every day. Present, continuous, for actions happening right now. Example: I am studying English. Past, simple, for completed actions in the past. Example: I visited London last year. Present perfect, for actions that started in the past and continue to the present or have an effect on the present. Example: I have lived here for 5 years. Practice verb conjugations. Regular practice with verb conjugations will help you get used to using the correct tense in context. Try exercises that focus specifically on tense usage. Ask for feedback. Don't hesitate to ask a teacher or language partner to correct your tense mistakes. Feedback is key to improving. Mistake number 4. Incorrect word order. Word order in English is usually subject-verb-object, SVO, and many learners struggle with getting it right, especially when translating from their native languages. Mistakes in word order can make sentences sound unnatural or difficult to understand. How to avoid it. Follow the standard word order. In English, the subject typically comes first, followed by the verb, and then the object. Example: I, subject. Love, verb reading, object. Learn sentence patterns. English has some common sentence patterns for statements, questions, and negative sentences. For example, affirmative: she is reading a book. Negative: she is not reading a book. Question: is she reading a book? Avoid overcomplicating sentences. Start by using simple, clear sentences and then gradually experiment with more complex sentence structures. This will help you understand word order better. Practice with exercises. Practice sentence construction. Exercises. Online resources like English Club and BBC Learning English offer many free exercises on word order. Mistake number 5. Using the wrong prepositions. Prepositions can be tricky in English because their use doesn't always follow logical patterns, especially if you're translating directly from your native language. Prepositions like in, on, at, for, and to are often misused in English, which can change the meaning of a sentence. How to avoid it. Learn common prepositional phrases. Instead of learning prepositions in isolation, focus on prepositional phrases that are commonly used together, like at the office, on the table, and in the morning. Pay attention to collocations. Some verbs are always used with specific prepositions. For example, look at, not look on. Listen to, not listen at. Depend on, not depend of. Practice with examples. Regular practice with sentences and examples will help you internalize the correct prepositions. For example, practice sentences like, I'm going to the store, she's in the room, or they're at the park. Study preposition rules. There are many resources available that explain the rules and exceptions for preposition usage in detail, like the Cambridge Dictionary or Oxford Learners' Dictionaries. Mistake number 6. Overusing very and really. Many learners rely heavily on words like very and really to emphasize adjectives, but this can make their speech or writing sound repetitive and less sophisticated. Overusing these words can also limit your ability to express yourself in a more creative or precise way. How to avoid it. Use stronger adjectives. Instead of saying very good, try using stronger adjectives like excellent, outstanding, or fantastic. Instead of very tired, you can say exhausted or worn out. Use adverbs of degree. Instead of just really or very, you can use adverbs like extremely, incredibly, remarkably, or quite. These can add more variety to your language. Expand your vocabulary. Learn a wider range of adjectives and adverbs to express yourself more vividly. For example, rather than saying very happy, try delighted, thrilled, or overjoyed. 7. Mistake number 7. Using its instead of its and vice versa. This is a common mistake in writing, especially because its and its sound the same, but they have different meanings. Its is a contraction for it, is or it has, while its is a possessive form of the pronoun it. How to avoid it? Remember the difference. Its is it is or it has, e.g., it's raining outside, or it's been a long day. It's body possessive form, e.g., the dog wagged its tail. Proofread. Before finalizing any written work, take a moment to carefully proofread your sentences, paying special attention to the apostrophe and its usage. Mistake number 8. Using the wrong articles, a, an, the. Articles, a, an, the, are essential in English, but learners often struggle with using them correctly. Many languages don't use articles, which can make it tricky for learners to grasp when to use a, an, or the. How to avoid it? A and an. Use a before words that start with a consonant sound, and an before words that start with a vowel sound. Example, I saw a dog versus I saw an apple. The. Use the when referring to something specific or something that has been mentioned before. Example, I saw the dog that I was talking about. Conclusion, learning from mistakes. Making mistakes is a natural part of the language learning process, and it's something every learner experiences. The key is not to be discouraged by mistakes, but to learn from them. As you continue practicing, you'll become more aware of these common mistakes and be able to avoid them in the future. Regular practice, feedback from others, and a willingness to keep improving will help you progress on your language learning journey. By being mindful of these common mistakes and applying the strategies to avoid them, you'll be able to speak and write more confidently and accurately in English. Keep practicing, stay consistent, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. They're just part of the process. That's it for Chapter 9. Keep going, and let's continue making progress together. Chapter 10. Secrets to Learning English. Quickly. Welcome to Chapter 10. By this point, you've made significant strides in learning English, and you might be wondering how to accelerate your progress even further. In this chapter, we will dive into the secrets to learning English quickly. While mastering any language takes time and dedication, there are strategies that can help you learn faster and more efficiently. By optimizing your study habits, immersing yourself in the language, and staying consistent, you can significantly improve your English skills in a shorter amount of time. Let's explore these secrets. Set clear, specific goals. One of the first secrets to learning English quickly is to set clear, specific goals. Without clear objectives, it's easy to lose focus or not make the progress you desire. Setting goals helps you stay motivated, track your progress, and measure your success. How to set effective goals. Short-term goals. These are goals you can achieve in a matter of weeks or months. For example, learn 100 new words in the next month, or complete 10 grammar lessons by the end of the week. Long-term goals. These are broader objectives that may take a year or more. For example, achieve a B2 level of English proficiency in 6 months, or be able to hold a 30-minute conversation in English by the end of the year. By breaking down your long-term goals into smaller, manageable steps, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment and stay on track. Immerse yourself in English. One of the most powerful secrets to learning any language quickly is immersion. Immersing yourself in the language means surrounding yourself with English in every possible way, whether it's through listening, speaking, reading, or writing. The more exposure you get, the faster you'll learn. How to immerse yourself. Watch. Movies and TV shows. Watch English language movies, TV shows, or documentaries, and try to avoid subtitles in your native language. At first, you can use English subtitles to help you understand better, but gradually reduce your reliance on them. Listen to podcasts and music. Listening to podcasts, radio stations, or music in English will expose you to different accents, vocabulary, and speaking speeds. Try to listen to content that interests you, as this will keep you engaged. Read in English. Start reading books, articles, blogs, or even social media posts in English. Choose content that matches your level and gradually increase the difficulty. Reading exposes you to new vocabulary and grammar structures. Change your device language. If you want to further immerse yourself, change the language settings on your phone, computer, or social media accounts to English. This constant exposure to the language helps reinforce what you're learning. Practice speaking every day. Speaking is one of the most challenging skills for many learners, but it's also one of the fastest ways to improve your fluency. Daily speaking practice will help you become more comfortable with the language, and it will improve your ability to think quickly in English. How to practice speaking. Find a language partner. Look for someone to practice speaking English with. This could be a native speaker, another learner, or even a tutor. Use language exchange apps like Tandem or HelloTalk to find partners. Talk to yourself. Don't be afraid to talk to yourself in English. Narrate your day, describe what you see around you, or simply express your thoughts out loud. This helps you practice speaking and improves your confidence. Join conversation groups. Many online communities offer free conversation practice groups where you can speak with other learners. Platforms like italki, Conversation Exchange, or local language meetups can provide opportunities for regular practice. Record yourself. Recording yourself speaking can help you track your progress and identify areas for improvement. Listen to the recordings and compare them to native speakers to spot pronunciation or grammar mistakes. Learn and use vocabulary in context. When learning new vocabulary, don't just memorize words from a list. Learn them in context. Understanding how words are used in sentences or real-life situations will help you remember them better and use them more naturally in conversations. How to learn vocabulary in context. Use flashcards. Create flashcards with words and their meanings, but include an example sentence on the other side. For example, for the word generous, your flashcard might say, "She is generous because she always helps others." Read and listen actively. As you read or listen to English content, Make a note of new words or phrases that you encounter. Pay attention to how they are used in context, and try to incorporate them into your own speaking or writing. Use new words immediately. As soon as you learn a new word, try to use it in a sentence. Whether it's in conversation or in writing, the sooner you practice, the more likely it is that the word will stick in your memory. Focus on communication, not perfection. One of the biggest barriers to learning English quickly is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners are afraid of speaking because they worry about using incorrect grammar or mispronouncing words. However, the key to learning quickly is focusing on communication, not perfection. How to focus on communication. Speak without hesitation. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you speak, the more comfortable you'll become. Instead of worrying about getting everything perfect, focus on getting your message across. Native speakers often make mistakes too. Don't overthink. Grammar. While grammar is important, don't let it slow you down. Focus on the message you want to convey. As you practice more, your grammar will improve naturally. Learn through errors. Mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. When you make a mistake, take note of it, but don't let it stop you. Learning from errors is a great way to improve quickly. Use technology to your advantage. In the digital age, there are countless tools and resources to help you learn English faster. From apps to websites, technology can make your learning process more interactive and efficient. How to use technology. Language apps. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, Memrise, and Anki can help you practice vocabulary, grammar, and speaking. These apps use spaced repetition and gamification to make learning fun and effective. Online courses and tutorials. Websites like Udemy, Coursera, and edX offer English courses ranging from beginner to advanced levels. You can learn at your own pace, and some courses even offer certification. YouTube channels. There are many YouTube channels that focus on learning English, such as BBC Learning English, English with Lucy, and Rachel's English. These channels offer lessons on pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and speaking. Stay consistent. Learning a language is a long-term process, and consistency is one of the biggest factors in how quickly you can learn English. Setting aside time each day to practice will help you make steady progress and keep your momentum going. How to stay consistent. Set a daily schedule. Dedicate a specific amount of time each day to practice. Even if it's just 20-30 minutes, consistency is key. Make it part of your daily routine. Track your progress. Keep a journal or log of your learning activities. Whether it's new vocabulary words, grammar rules, or speaking exercises, Tracking your progress helps keep you motivated. Be patient with yourself. Learning a language takes time, and there will be ups and downs. Don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Keep practicing and trust the process. Get feedback and adjust your approach. One of the best ways to learn quickly is to get regular feedback. Whether it's from a teacher, language partner, or even a language learning app, feedback helps you identify areas of improvement and adjust your approach accordingly. How to get feedback. Take language classes. Enroll in a language class where a teacher can provide constructive feedback on your speaking, writing, and grammar. Ask for corrections. When speaking with language partners, ask them to correct your mistakes. Whether it's pronunciation, grammar, or vocabulary, corrections help you improve faster. Review your mistakes. After receiving feedback, review the areas where you made mistakes. This will help you avoid repeating the same errors and improve more quickly. Use a variety of learning resources. To learn English quickly, you need to expose yourself to different types of content and resources. Each type of resource, whether it's a book, podcast, app, or conversation, provides a unique learning experience and helps reinforce what you've learned. How to use different resources. Books. Read books in English that match your level. Start with easy texts like children's books or graded readers, and gradually move on to more complex novels or nonfiction. Podcasts. Listen to English language podcasts, such as The English We Speak or 6-Minute English by BBC. These will expose you to real conversational English and different accents. Websites and blogs. Follow blogs and websites that provide useful language tips and exercises. Some websites like English Club or BBC Learning English offer free resources for learners. 10. Conclusion. Keep pushing forward. Learning English quickly is possible, but it requires dedication, practice, and the right strategies. By setting clear goals, immersing yourself in the language, speaking daily, and using technology to your advantage, you can accelerate your learning process. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and always focus on communication rather than perfection. With consistent effort and the right resources, you'll be well on your way to mastering English in no time. That's it for Chapter 10. Keep practicing. Stay motivated and continue your journey toward English fluency. You've got this. Great work today. Every moment you spend practicing brings you closer to mastering your English listening and speaking skills. Remember, progress comes with patience and consistency. If this story inspired you or helped you in your learning journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Easy English Spark channel for more lessons and stories. Keep listening, keep speaking, and keep believing in your growth. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep shining.